The Voices Unheard program at Boston Post-Adoption Resources is designed to empower adult adoptees in expressing their personal stories and to expand public knowledge and awareness around lived adoptee experiences. Our program goals are accomplished through this Adoptees in 3 video series, through narrative writing workshops, adoptee-created blogs, the use of the Voices Unheard journal, as well as through Voices Unheard, Real Adoptee Stories, which is our annual live speakers forum dedicated to educating the greater Boston community through creative expression and storytelling. All right, welcome to Adoptees in 3, Connecting Mind, Heart, and Action. Here we get to the heart of things with one adoptee by asking them the current state of their adoptee journey through 3 questions based on heart, mind, and action. I'm Elsie Coppola. Hi, Miguel.
Hi, Elsie.
Glad you're here.
Happy to thank you.
I'm an adoptee, you know this, and the program director of Voices Unheard through BPAR, Boston Post-Adoption Resources, as well as an adoption trauma-informed therapist. And I am so happy to have Miguel Caballero here with me today.
Well, thank you so much, Elsie. It's good to be here.
Miguel, I'll just do a little introduction of you. You're an adoptee in recovery from alcoholism. You've been a guest on the Adoptees On podcast, and you're one of the founders of the Adoptees and Addiction online meeting. After a successful advertising career, you're going back to school now to get your LMFT in order to help more adoptees, which is very exciting. I've always felt grateful to have you as a voice, as a fellow person in recovery and an adoptee out there. And I remember the Adoptees On episode where you articulated that birth mother size hole. And I always bring that up to my clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So welcome. You want to just dive into these questions?
Sure.
Okay. So the first question, the mind question, if you were to make a movie about your adoptee journey, what would you title it? I'm sure it might be different throughout different parts, but
right.
What do you think?
I was going to joke about it and say it would be called The Hangover. And like,
Nice.
that's an earlier version of the story. I would say it would be From Shame to Hope.
Nice.
That would be the way to put it and give it a beginning and not an end point, because we're still on our journeys, but to give it some change and some direction and a feeling of not being so alone and of not being so damaged.
And in the beginning of the journey, there was like a cloud of shame. It sounds like just been there.
Yeah. I don't have contact with my birth mother, but I did find out that she hid her pregnancy from her brother and sister-in-law while she was living with them. And so, she was obviously ashamed. And I like to say I was marinated in amniotic shame. And
I think you said that on the podcast, right? Marinated in shame. I have definitely used that phrase. Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, there's a lot of feelings in a mother, and a mother who may or may not get to keep the child, may have not wanted to be pregnant, may be too young to have handled what's going on. And, that has consequences for the baby, which was me. And I had a lot of shame for a long time. I just felt like that there was something unlovable and worthless and unwanted about me. And I really kind of lived that way. Like I lived like people were going to find out about me and find out that same secret. And that once it happened, like I would be given up and not wanted. And, that's annihilation. So that's the from shame part.
Did addiction help with the shame?
Addiction covered the shame up for a little while and put a Band-Aid on it. But I started drowning that Band-Aid and eventually was able to get to recovery and find a lot of healing and find a lot of growth and find a place where I felt seen and heard but I also got the opportunity to use like my compassion and my sensitivity and all of that in a way to help other people. And that was kind of a revelation, was to be able to feel good about helping somebody else and thus feel kind of good about myself. Like, I think that was a very important part of my whole journey. And it's kind of why I feel hopeful. It's being able to help other people. And I saw a flyer up at one of the meetings I go to, and it said something like, be the person you needed 20 years ago. And that really struck me. I'm like, yeah, like that's a good goal. Like how can I help people coming in that are adoptees that are kind of overwhelmed by the twin problems of addiction as well as all their issues around adoption. And I've been through all of those things. So I feel like I have a subject matter expertise.
Yeah, I'm thinking like on the line of, movie title, if there was like a character, was there any characters in your movie
Mhm.
that played that role for you?
Uh, I think we'd probably like in the movie need to like cram three different people together into one person.
Yeah.
Having a sponsor certainly helped. Um, Having the people at the rehab, and then just sort of the Greek chorus of people at meetings. People who were suffering, but also very hopeful and had found ways to um, manage their lives a lot better in a way that was really attractive.
I wonder like if you met another adoptee in a meeting that was like, first month sober, is
Yeah.
there anything particular you'd want to say to them about like the recovery world?
Yeah. What I would say to somebody that was new to recovery, that was an adoptee, I would say something along the lines of you'll find a lot of understanding and you'll find a lot of compassion in these rooms. You'll also find people that have no idea about adoption and they mean very well, but unfortunately there hasn't been a bunch of big movies or TV shows that show people how to like relate to adoptees in like the best, most positive manner. So culturally, we don't know what to do. We've
Right.
just been told this story about how it's so great. The adoptee gets to be placed in the family and the family can have kids and it's all wonderful and everyone's happy. And that's the image that most non-adoptees have in their heads when they're talking to an adoptee. And you can get some very random ideas about how to deal with your adoption trauma when you just talk about it in the rooms. And some people may be outright hostile to you talking about it. My personal opinion is that a lot of the recovery rooms don't deal well with trauma.
Mm.
They're not particularly trauma informed, nor should they be. They're not professionals. But I think there's a lot of missteps happen when people are dealing with someone who's been traumatized and they don't know what to say or what to do. And the tool that they happen to have is the 12 steps. Like, oh, you just apply the 12 steps to it and you're no longer to feel that trauma from your childhood. It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that idea of like the adoptee seeing the shame more clearly that they've experienced their whole life and like maybe starting to talk about it and then it being, encouraged to be put aside again.
Hmm.
It's tough. All
Yeah,
right.
I would say that's the reason that the Adoptees and Addiction meeting is not an official 12-step fellowship, is that
Mhm.
a lot of the people who come have had those bad experiences in 12-step rooms and get kind of upset about it, which is not to say you shouldn't go to 12-step. Like, I think you need to stop drinking if that's the problem before you can really deal with the adoptee issues on a much clearer, better, healthier level. If you're getting wasted all the time, you're not probably going to experience a lot of change.
Right. Right. Yeah. You can ease the pain, but yeah,
Yeah.
change probably isn't going to be substantial. Um, so the next question, you kind of got into it a little bit, but what advice would you give your adopted younger self?
Um, I'm sure that people told me this, and I don't know how to reach that kid, but I would say like, you know, you really are a good person to
Mhm.
the very core of your being. You are a lovable, worthwhile person,
Mhm.
and you don't have to act as though everyone you meet is going to abandon you.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, would that work to 15-year-old me? I don't know. My prefrontal cortex wasn't fully developed. Uh, but maybe, you know, maybe if I'd
Oh,
had
okay. I'll just,
maybe. Yeah.
yeah. Do you ever do any like inner child stuff, like imagine yourself at that age now when when yourself at that age gets activated?
Whew, I try. It's
Yeah.
what the dealing with dysregulation, I think, is one of the harder parts of our journey.
Yeah.
And I think we can get much better at it. I don't think the goal is to completely stop it from happening. It's to be able to recognize it faster and then regulate faster. I think that's a big part of it. And um, yeah, it can work at times, and other times I just have to say, all right, I'm just gonna be really dysregulated for a while. And tonight we're just gonna watch reruns of Friends and kind of be a little bit neurotic and miserable. And tomorrow we'll take a deep breath and go back into the things we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, the chill out times are so, I mean, I try to sleep 9 to 10 hours a night and I'm just like, I'm
Wow.
adopted. You know
Uh,
what? I need the rest because we're so hyper vigilant and we're so over, I feel
yeah,
like in general we're so like have a million things spinning around in there because of our systems, need the rest sometimes to just zone out.
that's right.
Okay, so for the heart, oh, we did that one. So for the action question, how are you healing today? What's working for you these days?
Yeah. What's helping me heal these days? Um, I think being involved in the Adoptees and Addiction meeting is really helpful, and being able to be there for other people when they're having a hard time. And that's not necessarily just in the Adoptees and Addiction meeting. It's not necessarily in 12-step. It's just when someone's suffering and having a hard go of it, to be able to listen to them in a very vulnerable, connected way, like that always makes me feel a little better about myself. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, there's just something in that compassion that, like, it feels like part of the reason we're here on the planet is to help other people. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice when you get those moments of vulnerability and authenticity from somebody else.
Yeah,
And then you have to do that with other people and
yeah.
being vulnerable and authentic. And I'm still not great at it. I want to present the perfect picture. I don't want to tell people I spent 8 hours yesterday on my phone, and knowing that it was not a worthy use of my time, and knowing it was a distraction dopamine
Mhm.
mechanism, like to
So
keep
hard.
away from my feelings. Um, but I'm gentler with myself. And I think that's a result of healing. Yeah, I can understand why you have these like big feelings and you want to get away from them. Like I can understand how looking at Instagram or looking at Twitter/X for hours is a way to regulate. Um, I'd love to say that makes it easy to then not do it again, but you know, Elon, Steve Jobs, and friends, they know how to get us.
It is very hard with the phone addiction. This is a area that, I mean, it's affecting everyone. The Atlantic just came out with an article about the phone-based childhood.
Oof.
And
Yeah,
it was like you can listen to the article, so it was like an hour long. So it was a very long article, but it took a lot of the research and just really talks about how it's like at a certain age, they didn't even get a shot to not be addicted.
right.
It is so hard. I remember I tried to go to some addiction meetings, and
Uh,
it was like there's only one that I could find in Massachusetts, and it was all gamers, and I'm not a gamer. I'm just
right,
can't get off my phone, so it's
right,
tough. We have a lot to learn, and I think a lot
right.
to implement in terms of recovery around that.
Yeah, there's a podcast article and he thinks that in the same way that we look back at like movies from the 70s where people are like smoking on airplanes, we're gonna
Mm.
look back at this time and see kids with their phones and be like, wait, we let our kids use those all the time? Like, what were you thinking? That's so disruptive and so destructive.
Absolutely. I hope we get there,
Uh,
and yeah, it's terrifying. I mean, it causes so many problems in our, with our mental health and even physical health and sleep cycle. I mean, it's endless. Uh, I could talk about that forever because I'm like all rubbed up about it lately, but all right. So before we wrap up, I do want to let people know where if someone wants to find out about you more, is there somewhere you want me to direct them, or
yeah,
can you tell us about this adoptee and addiction meeting?
sure. I think happy to put my email address and attached to this. It's migtastic, which is like fantastic, but MIG at the beginning at gmail.com. Please just send me a note. You heard me on the podcast. And if you want the meeting links or you just want to talk, like, awesome, let's do it. We have a website that I keep meaning to update, even though I haven't in the past 4 years, but it will still get you to the right things. It's just adopteesanaddiction.com. And there it'll tell you how to get a hold of us and get you the Zoom info. Because we don't want to post the Zoom info because there's still Zoom bombers out there.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think I was in one of the meetings and that happened.
right.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay, well, it was so I'm so glad that you were able to do this interview with me, and it was good to see you, and thank you for everything that you're doing in this adoptees and addiction world.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And I can't wait to hop on and also be a fully licensed person someday in the future.
Yes, that would be awesome. All right. Thank you, Miguel, and we're gonna invite everyone to continue watching these adoptees in three episodes, and